Upon arriving at Crest-Fall Pines, the fog was dense and the air was thin. It was only 5 p.m., but it was already getting dark out. My visibility was limited, with the fog dimming my headlights and the trees blocking the little sun that there was. Driving into a ditch wasn't really part of my route, so I decided to try a place to stay. Unknown as to where I was on the map and no signal on my cell phone, I just drove slowly until I could find a gas station of some sort. After 20 miles of driving, I saw a sign that said, "The In-N-Out Motel," pun completely intended, I assume. I pulled up to the main office and headed in. "Howdy, stranger," said the man behind the desk. He was pushing 40 and had big circular glasses. His thick southern accent made him seem friendly, but I wasn't looking for a friend. I just wanted to sleep. "What can I do for you?" Can I get a room? Why else would I be here?" I thought to myself. "Well, shoot, we're all booked for the night," he said with a grin. I turned my head to look at the empty parking lot. "You're kidding, right?" "No, sir, all full up." "Well, is there anywhere else I can stay?" I asked with an agitated tone. There's a bed and breakfast in the next town over." "Any place around here?" I asked. "Well," he said reluctantly, "there is the Crest Falls Inn, but folks don't go there." "And why's that?" I asked. "Just some old folk tale," he said. "Humor me," I replied. "Well, legend goes that a bunch of crazy folks back in the day would practice rituals, praying to the devil and whatnot." "And you actually believe that stuff?" I asked. "Well, I don't know what to believe. I just stay away from the place. Too rich for my blood," he said while scratching his chest. "Say, what are you doing up here anyway, if you don't mind me asking?" he asked. "I'm just passing through. It's just that we don't get many people up here, and wearing that suit makes you stick out like a sore thumb." I pulled out my badge and showed him my ID. "Ah, a detective. We definitely don't get much of them around here," he said. "So are you working a case here in Crest Fall?" he asked. "No, I'm heading up north for the case. Like I said, I'm just passing through." "So, can I get directions to that inn you were talking about?" I said. His grin slowly faded. "Sure thing," he said. "You want to go about a mile up the road. Take the first left, then drive until you reach Lick Road. Then you're gonna want to take a right, a left, and then another I stopped him. "Can you just write it down for me?" I asked. He sighed. "Do you have a pen?" Finally on my way, following his directions the best I could. The fog was still very thick, and if I wasn't going below 20, I would have hit a couple of kids on their bikes. At this point, I was just tired, and I wanted to get some shut-eye before my long drive tomorrow. There it was, 1134 Fairway Drive. The big wooden sign that had had years of wear and tear read Crest-Fall Inn. I turned into the dirt driveway that leads into the hotel and put my car in park. I'll give the guy some credit. This looked like a place where crazy folks would practice rituals. The hotel was more like a run-down mansion that someone slapped a hotel sign on. At that moment, it looked like I was going to be sleeping in my car for the night. I started up the creaking stairs and reached for the doorknob when a voice from behind me asked, "Can I help you?" I turned around to see a middle-aged woman in a white summer dress. It startled me at first, but I collected myself and asked, "Do you have any rooms vacant?" She started walking up the stairs toward me. She must have been 35 or 40, but attractive nonetheless. "Why, of course we do. Come on in, we'll get you situated." She unlocked the door and opened it, gesturing that I go first, so I stepped in. My first step into the hotel was heavy, as if I had missed a step while walking down a flight of stairs. Then I was in, but something felt off. The inside of the hotel didn't match the outside at all. For instance, it seemed a lot bigger and it was very clean. The red carpet was vibrant, and hanging from the ceiling was a chandelier that was quite incredible. The woman walked around to the front desk and pulled out a black velvet book. She opened it and handed me a pen. "Please sign your name," she said. I noticed that the book was empty. No other names were signed, but I figured with all the rumors about the place, it probably wasn't a tourist attraction. "First guest, huh?" I said jokingly. "Oh no, we just recently got a new book and the old one was falling apart," she said with a reassuring smile. "So, do you get many people in here?" I asked. "Depends on the season. There aren't many people in Crest Falls to begin with." "Looks like it. I've been to town for 2 hours now, and I've only seen a couple of kids. Oh, and a weird guy from the In-N-Out Motel." "You mean Marty?" she said with a somewhat worried tone. I didn't get his name. He had a southern accent," I said. "Yeah, that's Marty." Did he say anything to you? About this place or me? She asked. No, why do you ask? I lied to see where this went. Just a little bad blood between us, that's all. Let's get you to your room, she said in a snappy tone. She looked down at the book, reading my name. Dan. Nice to meet you, I'm Tara. After shaking hands with Tara, I headed to my room. We walked up a flight of stairs until we reached the second floor. The corridor was very long, and it amazed me to see such a nice hotel have so little people visiting it. We kept walking until we reached room 17. Tara unlocked it for me, and we both walked in. This is where you'll be staying. It's just me and you in the hotel tonight, so if you need anything, don't hesitate to come and get me. No problem. I'm probably just gonna pass out as soon as you leave, I said jokingly. She laughed. Well then, here's your key. You have a nice night, she said with a smile. Thanks. You too, I said. She closed the door behind her, and I waited a few seconds before I locked it. Finally, peace and quiet. The room was nice. Queen-size bed with an antique-looking nightstand. The bathroom had a nice teal color to it, very shiny and new-looking. It had been a long day, and an even longer one to come, so I needed to get some shut-eye. I started to shower and began to undress, when all of a sudden, 2 loud bangs came from the door. I peeked my head out of the bathroom. The room's door was open. I stood there staring. While different theories went through my head, I hurried up and put my shirt on. By the time I looked again, the corridor's lights were out. Maybe the lights were on a timer, I thought, but why was my door open? I crept slowly towards the door, each step slower and slower. My hand reached out to the door to close it, but before grabbing it, the door across from my room slowly crept open. As stiff as a brick, I gazed upon the dark room that was being illuminated by the blue haze that was coming from the window. I took a step back, still staring into the room, when a shadow stepped into the illumination, drowning out most of the visibility until it started trotting for my room. I stepped forward and slammed my door shut, just in time for whatever was out there to stay out. I locked the door again, and peered out through the peephole to see what had just happened, but there was nothing there. The lights were on, and the door across from me was shut. I had been awake for 48 hours at this point. No need to explain this. I need to sleep. I said screw the shower and just laid down on the queen-size bed, with the lights on. However, as I was laying in bed, I started thinking. The shower. I didn't turn the water off when I investigated the corridor. But why is it off? I could have just forgotten what I did, but something wasn't right. We all have those maybe we did, maybe we didn't situations, but this was different. I knew for a fact that I didn't turn the water off. I opened my eyes. I almost know for a fact that my door should be closed, but it was open again. Now, I'm a rational man, but if you're going on 48 hours of sleep, you get a little grumpy. What the hell is going on? I screamed. No one answered, but I heard a distant door open and footsteps coming down the hall. I readied myself for whatever might be coming. But then Tara popped her head in. What's the problem, Dan? Who else is in this hotel? I asked. No one, just me and you, she replied. So who keeps opening my door? I asked. Oh, these old doors are always coming open. The key is to prop a chair in front of it. I know it's a hassle, but if we get more guests then we can afford new doors, she said with a witty tone. Don't play with me, there's someone else here, I said, demanding answers. I promise, Dan, it's just you and me. If anything else happens, I'm gone. Got it? I'm sorry for the inconveniences. Tonight's on the house, she said with a smile. Good night, Dan. I stood there shaking my head and rubbing my eyes. That's it. I'm getting some sleep. This time I propped the door with a chair and slammed my face down on the pillows. Instantly, I was asleep. I awoke, feeling cold and lost. No lights except for the moon through the window. The door was yet again open. Confused, I rushed out into the corridor. I yelled for Tara but got no response. Turning to my right, I saw a shadowy figure at the end of the hall, standing slumped over and breathing heavily. I could hear every breath it took, and in an instant, it charged at me. I ran as fast as I could down the corridor and down the flight of stairs, running straight for the door. I didn't even notice Tara at the front desk until she spoke. Where are you going, Dan? I turned around to see the figure at the base of the stairs. I tried the front door, but it wouldn't budge. I'm leaving. Let me out of here, I said. Oh, Dan, you can't leave. You signed a contract, she said, opening the black velvet book. I looked back outside to see my body being dragged into my car by someone or something unknown. I turned back around to see Tara standing right behind me with a group of people. Male, female, some didn't even look human. Then Tara looked at me and said, "We all signed a contract." I woke up, in the bed, door still propped with a chair and closed. Holy shit, that was a weird dream. I began to get in the shower, for real this time, but before I got into the bathroom, I heard talking coming from outside the door. I looked through the people to see Tara and another man walking past my door. "Here it is, room 18, Tara said. "Thank you," said the man. "It's just you and me in the hotel tonight, so if you need anything, don't hesitate to come and get me." I reached for the handle, but my hand was grabbed by what could only be described as pure evil. I saw my whole life. Everything I said, everything I did flash before my eyes. I relived my first steps. I saw every single face that had been murdered in my cases. I saw Tara digging my throat out. All of the pain I've ever felt rushing through my body, and I grabbed my neck to feel an emptiness where my throat once resided. Until I came to terms that this is hell.